Mike Eaves set to start the 14th season at the helm of his alma mater at Wisconsin. All right, Mike, before we look ahead to year 14, let's look back on year 13. I know it's been characterized by some as a rebuilding year. Some of your players would say it was a frustrating year. How would you describe what last year was like?
That was the most unusual year for sure. We ended up only winning 4 games. That fact never really hit till the season was over, about 2 weeks after, because of the fact we were so involved day to day that we were trying to control the things that we could. But in the end, when it was over, it was pretty tough to look at those numbers. And I think the guys that are returning this year have a lot to prove. I know we as a coaching staff, even though it's new, those are not numbers that we're used to, and we certainly want to turn the ship around and get it going in the other way in terms of the number of wins that we had, and get back closer to playing championship hockey so we can compete at the level that we want to, that we're used to competing at.
Mike, you mentioned the new staff obviously had to make some tough changes in April. How hard is that on a head coach? What kind of spark have the new guys provided?
It's very difficult. I mean, especially when they're friends. We are working with amateur players, but in reality of it, we're a professional business, and our schools are trying to stay ahead. And if things aren't going well, changes needed to be made, and they were made. But in saying that, the process of getting new people in took a while, but I think the process has led us down a good path, and we have young people that we think are going to be very, very good for our program, beginning with our new associate head coach, Luke Strand. I've known Luke for a while. He has traveled the hockey path, been down many hockey paths, if you will, in terms of the professional level, minor league level, junior level. He was last year the GM head coach of the Madison Capitals in the United States Hockey League. And sitting down and talking to Luke, I caught up on his life and what was going on, and just the dialogue about his philosophies and those type of things led me to believe that this would be a right guy to come in here and be our associate head coach, and would be a good thing for a program. And to assist us is a young man named JB Bittner. JB graduated from the University of Ohio State and then went out and played pro for a handful of years, and then got into coaching business. And yeah, he brings another element. JB kind of measures his success by what's going on in the recruiting world, takes great pride in that. And at this level, if you're getting good kids, you're going to be a better coach. So I think with his background, knowing a lot of kids in North America, I've been on the ice with JB. We had a pro camp here. He did a real good job on the ice. He's got a good feel for the game. So I like our staff. We're part-time into what we're doing right now, but in watching them in a short time, I like our chemistry, and I like the things that I'm hearing from them, and we're doing a lot of good things away from the rink as well in terms of the recruiting.
Mike, you were so young a year ago. 7 of your top 10 scorers were underclassmen. How much hope and how much promise does that give you guys, especially offensively, heading into this year?
Well, one thing's for sure, our returning freshmen, and we had 13 of them last year that are now returning as sophomores, and they won't be true sophomores. If you take a look at the amount of ice time they had to take, some of the responsibility that they had to deal with, they come in more like first semester juniors. So that'll bode well for us. They've been in the fire, they've been burnt a couple times, and they'll be more of a veteran sophomore than just normal. So that'll bode well for us. We bring in 10 more freshmen, so that says that we're going to have another young group that we have to deal with, and it'll take time for them to get their feet underneath. But in saying that, there seems to be a level of talent that we like, that's going to have some bumps and bruises. But I think as we get together here as a team, those are good things that we can build on.
One of the big changes for you this year, obviously, Mike, will be no Joel Rumpel in between the pipes. You actually lose both of your senior goaltenders from a year ago. How do you move on from Joel? Who's likely to take that spot?
Well, it's going to be a competition. It's funny, we're in the football season now, and you listen to the number of schools that are looking for their starting quarterback. We're looking for that in our terms, and that's a starting goaltender. We have Gabe Grunwald, who's returning, young Mr. Adam Miller, and then we have Matt Jurasek coming in, who was in Janesville last year in the North American Hockey League. And it's one of the things you want on any team that you have is competition, and I think it's there naturally. It's going to be heightened for the goaltenders because of the fact that we need to find that starting guy, and it might be a rotating thing for a while, but every day in practice, the coaches will be getting together after and rating our goaltenders. Our volunteer coach is Jeff Sanger, who is our goalie coach. He'll be very involved in our discussions, and things will start to unveil themselves as we start getting into practice and get early here in the games.
Mike, as you well know, the realignment of conferences, the creation of the Big Ten Hockey Conference shook up college hockey as a sport, trying to appeal to more people and at the same time keep the promise and keep those traditional fans involved. How tough is that balance, and where do you see this sport headed in the next couple of years?
Well, for our own fans, I think our non-conference schedule, we've been able to schedule some of the teams that we played in the WCHA. We've got North Dakota done this year. We've had CC and Denver on our schedule. So we will continue to do those type of teams that we played in the past, and I think that'll be good for our fans. In terms of the Big Ten, there is talk to what level, I'm not sure. I think all the coaches in the Big Ten would like to see us grow at least a couple of teams here within the next 5 years. Perhaps that would be a good thing, and there is talk out there about that, and hopefully that will come to fruition sooner rather than later.
Mike, would you be okay if the league okayed it with going out and getting a single sport hockey team? I know Arizona State's been thrown out there as a school that's looking for a home. Yep. Traditionally, the Big Ten hasn't done that, but they're doing it with lacrosse. Do you think you would be okay with a single sport member to increase the number of hockey teams?
I think we would, especially with a school like ASU, who they're a big brand school, much like the Big Ten. They're a Big 12 school, so I think we're equally yoked in that term in faction, and I think that would definitely be a school that we would be interested in, and I'm sure they're one of the schools that not only the Big Ten but several other leagues will be looking at to get in. But for us, it would be a good fit just because of the brand.
What's it like for you to coach at the place where you went to school?
Been asked that question before, and I think I remember the first time walking on the Cole Center ice along the boards to the bench, and I felt nervous. And I think that the reason the nervousness was there because you went to the school, you have more stock in the fact that you went there, you played there, you know what it means to the fans. It means something special to you because of the fact you did play there. So I think being able to go back and coach at your school, that you take a greater amount of pride in that because of the fact that you have deep roots there.
Lastly, Mike, what's the value of the Big Ten education and the Big Ten educational experience for these college athletes?
Well, I think that comes to fruition, or it's heightened every time we bring a young student athlete on campus, and we kind of get used to this place as our place we come every day. Not that it becomes old hat, but we take it for granted a little bit. But when you bring a young recruit on, and you walk them down to the football stadium where you're going to have 80,000 people, you take them over to the lake where you see the beauty of the campus. Everywhere you can, every piece of paper that you read about the university in terms of the quality of education, the total package is at these type of schools, and I don't think the kids really appreciate it right now. I know I certainly didn't. When I was here, with that frontal lobe not fully developing until I left here, you come to appreciate it later in life. But I think once you step outside and you look back, it's very special. And I think that you come to appreciate it as you move on. You get a little bit older, a little bit wiser.